Welcome to Hexus Plus course creation and promotion proposal for increasing the number of people that engage with climate change. So this proposal's outline seeks to basically talk about the process that we are going to undertake to promote researchers. We have already done this process already, and we've started this process by doing interviews for COP26 TV, working with 5 universities. Obviously, our goal was to work with the university's goals to help raise awareness of the work that's being done at the university and ultimately to deal with the plastic and ecological and climate issues and potentially add a revenue stream for the university to invest in scholarships or whatever it wants to do. This research and development proposal will show why we are not only appropriate but ideal to carry out this plan and what we need from you. Hexus Plus is a research and training company focused on dealing with societal issues with a goal to provide leadership and inspiration to a set of people that create organisations that will be self-sustaining and not reliant on the donations or funding to continue. We have a net negative impact on the solid and gaseous waste produced by humans. The development part takes the form of a variety of teaching strategies involving online and offline education and coaching. Chris, the founder of Hexus Plus, has worked as a science teacher, climate activist, science communication researcher, science show producer, and interviewer, as well as a number of other leadership positions. He spent many years developing an online tool as well as a well-evidenced model to use it. Hexus Plus has 2 linked but distinctly separate goals: to increase the volume of noise being made about climate change and ecological crisis facing the world by way of highly engaging and informative and desirable content, and to produce courses that fuel the departments of universities and also businesses focused on climate change, trying to do the same as us and increase the number of business entities trying to solve the climate crisis. Chris previously worked with COP26 TV to make a range of science programs for COP26, looking at climate change from a variety of different perspectives, working with university professors from a number of different institutions. The main part of the action done by Hexus Plus was the production and the coordination and leadership with the universities, and the editing and the promotion was done by COP26 TV. Key success of this project was the 1,000 to 3,000 person reach for the 2 weeks that COP26 took place. Hexus Plus took the original recordings, re-edited them, and promoted them on Hexus Plus TV and achieved 1.3 to 1.6 thousand views in a week for the researchers from the 5 universities in the trial. We wish to build on our initial success for the project and have some robust goals to get us and the university departments to where they want to be. So here are our goals. In a 3-month trial, we aim to hit at least 100k views with about 10% engagement rate. Obviously, we could talk about what that engagement is, but that could be going to master's programs, it could be going to degree programs, it could be going to downloadable material. We're going to obviously build video content that's engaging and of a comparable quality to Numberphile or Minefield. We're going to aim to build a subscription base of climate-focused, academically interested potential masters and PhD students, and be able to create a short course or short courses that enable greener business and organization creation or running using the video production teams and professors from the specific universities, hopefully your university. And also to increase the climatic awareness of environmental sciences so that they're more prevalent in people's consciousness, to obviously be able to combat fake news and counter climate science narratives. To increase the number of options that children are given to choose climate sciences and jobs that involve dealing with both the climate and ecological crisis. So the scope of this project is to create content in line with the quality of Mindfield so that the content is visually engaging and likely to attract the target audience to continue watching. So here is an example of Mindfield's titles. We would like to create content in tandem with the professors to highlight great concepts in the field and the research being done at your university. We intend to make a series of mini documentaries, about 10 minutes in length, focusing on the key interesting topic areas that cover specific aspects of climate change that people can understand. So each documentary will be edited, be engaging on multiple social media channels, maybe chopped 1-minute segments, in order to be engaging on things like TikTok, Twitter, things like that. The style will hopefully be practically based and look at solutions to climate change and how people can get involved. One route is to study more and implement that study, for example, by way of short courses. The mini documentary will form a primer that will be used as part of the short courses. These short courses will be sold to generate revenue to make the project self-sustaining and potentially go to scholarships for more great people to study climate change and make a difference. The project could be covered within the university and aim to build a collaborative partnership that allows students to forward their knowledge and potentially gain qualifications from it, from that specific university, ultimately generating more climate-focused learners than if we just have full degree programs being engaged with on their own. Project benefits. The earliest benefit that will come from the project is bringing exposure to the university, and obviously the quality will dictate how that sits upon the university. Having viewed most universities' Twitter and TikTok accounts, I can see the quality that they're aiming for, and we aim to be better than most. So obviously the content that we produce will be promoted via YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, but also we'll be making edits appropriate for the career service in schools, because they are always looking out for great content and anything that enlightens students to the possibility of being able to deal with the climate crisis and use their intelligence in order to do that, is a most definite positive thing. This will ultimately give more exposure for environmental degrees to the best students and increase the pool of people choosing such degrees to deal with the climate crisis. More than this, we'll be educating people with the most accurate information from climate scientists to ensure that people have access to accurate information and can combat fake news. Another goal of the project would be to be self-sustaining and generate income to fund scholarships as well as other things for university goals. So obviously there would be an associated cost with creating and marketing the courses themselves. That should then allow the course to then generate revenue, and that revenue will obviously lead to scholarships and university admin having a greater budget. So the proposed team will be implemented by the project manager, Chris Jones, and an experienced film crew who have been testing over a number of years using lighting and 4K cameras. So more about Chris. So until 2019, Chris was a science and maths teacher, and he'd been teaching for 16 years. Whilst teaching, he had a number of leadership roles, one of which included leading a team of 30 members of staff and 60 students, student coaching groups. So he's had experience of managing relatively large size projects within organizations. Chris has studied several modules of action research in management and models of teaching and science education at the Institute of Education, and obviously has had a budget of tens of thousands of pounds in order to support his project. So he's had an experience of dealing with larger budgets or medium-sized budgets. He did a IOE master's degree in education, focusing on leadership, and his dissertation involved recording interviews. So the practice and the methodology of constructing and lighting and everything else started there. Following his master's degree, he spent 4 years as a performance coach, helping teachers to improve their teaching and classroom learning before starting his company, Hexus Plus. Hexus Plus has developed research tools for facilitating learning and has a proven procedure called mesh learning to accelerate learning. Mesh learning is a structured approach that builds on a blended learning approach and integrates a specific type of coaching conversation as well as learning skills to remove barriers for learning. Hexus Plus has used its own platform to deliver a research-based approach to its projects. In Hexus Plus's early stages, we focused on educational projects, working with Tottenham Football Club and others to improve their maths education. In our research projects, we found that learning was sped up using our technique, and the results specifically at Tottenham Football Club went from an average year on year of between 55, 60% to 100% for the 2 years that we were in the project. The organisation has since focused on facilitating action research projects for the founders of green businesses like community gardens, e-car companies, recycling organisations, focusing on reducing plastic waste and promoting forward-thinking projects by interviewing target customers and organisations and trying to connect the two together. We have a pool of affiliate marketers that will be working with us for us to sell learning content and obviously promote to their networks. So we'll be giving them the courses at the maximum exposure for the minimum cost. To implement the program, we will require funding for the following elements. This is part of the process to conduct a planning session that we will include for free. A 1 to 2 hour planning session, typically conducted via Zoom, unless it's practical to physically meet up. Scheduling recording in the calendar, where we might need 2 to 6 hours, depending on whether we're recording field work or not. Step 3 is obviously sending out and editing links to relevant programs. So, for example, if you wanted to promote master's programs, PhD programs, each researcher recorded would have an array of edits made potentially to test out different formats that would get the highest level of engagement. That's part of our process in terms of making this reach as many people as possible. A set of edits would be conducted like a research project to ensure that effective changes are made. The marketing team will prepare the campaign as per the research proposal and with keyword research to promote the researchers or researcher as effectively as possible. The spend would be about 33 times the trial advertising spend that we conducted for professors, or about 5.5k a month for about 1,000 views. So obviously, if we only wanted to go for a month and get 100,000 views for the documentary, that is an indicative spend for YouTube. The campaign runs through an iterative process to ensure the best cost per spend for the climate science videos. Obviously, as more people subscribe and more relevant people subscribe, that cost will go down, and there'll be a whole range of different costs that go down, which means that you'll have actually a bigger boost month on month. So this would be the end of the first part of the project. If your professors have not done the initial sort of interview, then which we would use for advertising purposes for the mini documentary, for the courses, for a whole range of different things, then that's done for free. So that would be the first step. The second step would then be the mini documentary. If we plan carefully, which would be the ultimate plan anyway, would be to then generate short courses. So all of these components make it easier to generate these short courses. So the ultimate goal is to have these courses which then can go out on our platform, on the affiliate marketers' websites, on other platforms such as edX, Udemy, Udacity, and a whole range of others that we are aware of. So the most successful and engaging videos are then converted into short courses. The courses are then built, ready for launch on Hexus Plus Training, as I mentioned potentially other platforms, depending on the scope discussed at the planning stage. The marketing team would then use an infinite sites approach, and of course, the university marketing team may also want to push the courses too, to market the courses, and the coaching team would then support the learners as they progress through the course. All the processes will undergo an iterative process to ensure that they're performing at an optimum level. Okay, so we go through continuous improvement. The mini documentary, the planning session will obviously be free. We're obviously seeking funding to cover costs for the other stages. So, for example, film crew would cost about £350 a day with the editing. That would give us content for the mini documentary. To produce multiple edits of the videos and test them out, which is our preferred approach, and it gives you the best results over time, and it will also then give us the best mini courses as well. So the edits might be just graphics used, mini videos, animated GIFs, those sort of things. Which ones lead to the most engagement, where to place the questions, the particular questions to match what the professors are doing and what the lecturers are doing in their mini documentary about their work. It costs about £160 to £250, depending on the optimization, to create and run each test. And to reach 100,000 views on YouTube would cost about 5.5k. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter would cost about 3.3, so significantly less, and LinkedIn is a little bit more. We typically cost about 8k, depending on where you might want to split test. And again, this can be discussed at the planning stage, but these are just indicative costs to just show you that we have conducted this research many times over the last 7 years, and we sort of come out with those average costs for each. To create the course that sits on Hexus Plus, which is advertised to people, to draw people in, the course would include storyboarding, interactivity, choice mechanics. It was about £1,500 for a 4-hour course, which is broken down into a maximum of 15-minute segments. Also to add quizzes and interactivity. Obviously, if you want multiple platforms, since all the content's generated, it will be significantly less. You might be around 600 to put it on another platform, because some platforms facilitate the uploading of the scripts, and others don't. So there's different functionality on different websites. So again, at the scoping stage, we can discuss that, but that's a sort of indicative cost from nothing to being able to generate it. Having generated the sort of videos at about $350 a day. To reach 100,000 views on YouTube would cost about 5.5k. On the Instagram, Facebook, and require a spend of about 3.5k, as mentioned before. LinkedIn's a bit more expensive at 8.5. So what do we need from you? Well, we've run an initial campaign to showcase what we can do. We'd like to discuss the specific scope of the project going forward. And there will be a link that pops up in this, and there's also a link in the email that we've sent you to take you to a booking form, which then you can see our calendar, which will start filling up pretty soon. Our goal is to make our work self-sustaining, so that we build something for you that brings people into the university and also generates that little bit of extra revenue, as we said, potentially for scholarships, or for whatever else is needed university-wise, to get more people to be studying climate change. That's the ultimate goal of all of this. We would need about 2.5 days to plan and record. We intend to plan effectively for the mini documentary so that we can construct the course as well. We welcome your thoughts on our proposal and invite you to book in a session to refine the proposal for your university. Thanks very much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you soon.